women were doing abortions, they were just doing it privately. They would do it at
And
home.
a lot of women died because of that. And so
but
we're
that's
a
a risk
modern
you take,
society.
though. That's a risk you take.
But it's a modern society.
And they have the right to, you know, have an abortion at home or wherever, and if they lose their life, they take that risk.
But we have to think about medical. This is a medical issue. Before we had laws to sterilize medical equipment, people were doing open heart surgery without proper regulations. Like, as society evolves around us, we have to put things in place that protect people.
But abortion is not a medical issue.
It's literally
abortion
a medical
is
issue.
when a woman decides, you know what, I want to kill this man baby. I don't want to have no baby.
Is it that man's baby? Is it her own baby too?
She made that decision to do it. It's not like she had to do it. It's not like a medical issue.
Sometimes
so if she decided to do it, that's fine.
Sometimes you do have to. The state of Texas, 5 women are suing the state of Texas because of medical abortions that they weren't able to have. They were pregnant, they lost a child in their womb due to no fault of their own, and they were forced to carry babies that were dead in their womb. And some of those women experienced sepsis. They almost died because of it, the internal bleeding because of it, and they were not able to have a medical procedure that would save their life. So there are instances where abortion is quite literally a life-saving thing, and it's necessary that we have access to that.
What's important to you?
As far as?
Period.
Oh, so many things. Like I said, freedom. I believe the main thing that's important to me is for people to be able to have the type of life that leaves them happy, fulfilled, financially secure and stable, healthy, educated, all of those things.
You support the Second Amendment?
In some ways, yeah.
You believe that people who want guns should have the right to carry a gun, right?
In certain instances. I do believe in background checks.
But you restrict their freedom in some places?
Yeah, absolutely.
And why?
What do you mean?
But you said you believed in freedom. Why don't they have the right? Why don't we all have the right to carry weapons whenever we want?
Freedom within reason. Freedom within reason.
But how are you going to determine what is reason for someone else?
Just like we determine what is reason for us. So why do we have, why do you get a speeding ticket for going too fast? Who decided that we have to drive 60 miles an hour?
That's right.
Just like you said, we can't have a lawless society, right? We talked about having to put constraints on things and making sure things aren't lawless. That's one of those things as well. So, yeah, if you want to have a handgun to protect yourself, sure. Should you have to go through a background check? Should you be able, we always talk about how mental health is the reason why these mass shootings happen. Shouldn't we make sure people are mentally competent before they have a gun? So, again, this is all, like you said, society, there are certain things that we have to be able to control. And, yeah, we can't have complete lawlessness, to your point, to where we're just letting people do anything.
So then you would agree, if you believe in that, you would agree that a woman should not be allowed to kill the man's child after she gets pregnant? Because if you let her do it afterward, she wanted to do it after the 6 months. She wanted to do it after the 9 months.
And that's after 9 months is murder. Because once you're 9 months, the baby is viable outside the womb.
During the 9th
you
month,
can't kill a live
during
baby.
the 9th month, they would want to do it too if you let them.
You can't. That's not true.
But they would carry it. As a matter of fact, I believe it was Chicago. I could be wrong. They were talking about letting a woman do it, even though she was about to have the baby and she decided she didn't want it. She could abort the baby then.
That's not realistic, or that doesn't happen often. Most women have abortions.
You said often, but it happens sometimes?
Only time people have an abortion that late in their pregnancy is if the mother's life is at risk, or if the baby will not be able to survive outside of the womb. There must be some other medical issue going on to where aborting the baby was the only thing to do to preserve the woman's life, or something like that. Those are usually the only instances where an abortion has happened that late. Most women have abortion before even 8 to 10 weeks. Very, very early on, still in the very early phases of the first trimester.
Should she be allowed to have an abortion without the father's permission?
Absolutely.
Because she's killing his child.
Her child too.
And the father belongs, and the baby belongs to them both. Should she be allowed to do that without the father's permission?
Absolutely, because it's still her body that has to go through 9 months of pregnancy. And as you know, pregnancy isn't easy on a woman's body. As you know, particularly black women are 4 to 5 times more likely to die giving birth. And people lose their teeth, people lose their hair. Being pregnant isn't just like some walk in the park. So if a woman wants to choose that she doesn't want to risk her life and be 4 to 5 times more likely to die, if she doesn't want that responsibility, she can make that choice. Men don't die from pregnancy because men don't have babies. So,
but why should she be allowed to kill the baby if it belongs to him too? Because what for the father, she could get pregnant.
Because it's her
and
body.
all she does is carry the baby. The father do the work. He don't put the baby there, right? And all she does
Carrying
is carry
the baby is a lot. Like I said, it's a toll on your body. Giving birth isn't a walk in the park, and I think you can ask any woman who's giving birth that it's not easy. So yes, you donated your seed. That's great.
Not donated. Put it there. If he didn't put the bread in the oven, there would be no bread.
Sure. And if there was no oven, there would be no bread. So.
Right. That's all she does is bake the bread, keep it there. Let me ask, you believe that, let me just ask this. I've noticed, and you can correct me if I'm saying it wrong, I noticed that the Democratic representatives, the party itself, they, as I mentioned earlier, they don't respect blacks. They think that blacks are not capable enough to do it for themselves. so they offer them affirmative action and reparations and things like that. They think that the blacks can't take care of themselves, so they're lowering the standards in order to get into a white university. They're now telling the blacks that they don't have to take the test because they can't pass the white man's test. They think that the blacks, rather than having a father and mother in the home to offer them government, they don't believe that the blacks are capable. And what I don't understand about that, and since you are involved in strategizing for them, what I don't understand, why do the blacks accept themselves being treated that way? Like they just can't do it. They're lowering the whole, even to get in certain jobs and things, they're lowering the standards for the blacks so that they can get it, otherwise they won't get it. I don't understand why the blacks put up with that.
Because those type of things are just kind of balancing the scales from things that happened decades before. So as you know, slavery happened. It wasn't that long ago, as you know.
Over 150 years ago.
And my mother, not my grandmother, my mom went to a segregated school. So it's not that long ago.
I did too.
Okay, so you understand. It's not like this is distant.
But blacks were better off then. They didn't beg. They didn't blame.
Let's see. So back after World War II, there was a period in the United States, about 20 to 30 years, where when people came back from the war, they were given home loans that they had no interest or didn't even have to pay back. They were given cars. They were given free college education. They were given all of these things that purposely excluded black people. So there was a time in this country where white people got handouts, but we didn't call it that back at the time. You know, the GI Bill, all of those funds, we didn't call it a handout. We called it an opportunity. And when people look back on that time, they look back on that time, a lot of white people, as a very happy time because they got a leg up in the country. They got a fresh start. They got the money and the support that they needed to build the generational wealth that they have today. And black people didn't have access to it. They were literally purposely excluded because of racism, because of Jim Crow, because of all of these things that purposely left us out and did not give us access to the same type of help that white people did.
Where did you get that information from? Because it's not true. Where did you get that from?
The GI Bill, you should look it up.
I know black men who went to the military, they got the GI Bill too. It wasn't just the white. I have family members who went to the military, they got the GI Bill. Yeah. When they got out, they were able to go to school and they were able to purchase.
But a lot
they were able to purchase a home and things like that. And they were black, right? So I'm trying to figure out where you get that information from because it's not true.
It's just true. We can agree to disagree. But
I grew up in Alabama when the Jim Crow law existed, and that's what you said wasn't true.
Yeah, my family
black people were doing better during the Jim Crow law than they are today because they weren't begging and blaming, and the country didn't have to lower the standards to let them in.
It's not lowering the standards. It's giving people access. We know right now, literally recently in Texas, there was a job posting that went out where people were sending clone resumes, same exact resume, you just put black name on it and a white name on it, and the white people were still getting the job or getting called for interviews when the black name wasn't. Like, this is 2023. So, you know, racism exists.
Why would a company want to hire a person with a black name? They know that that's trouble.
Why is that trouble?
Because when the blacks change their name to black names, they're saying out loud, well, we hate white folks. We're not going to work with them. We're not going to get along. And so I would never hire anyone with a black name.
Well, that's bias.
Because I know that you're bringing in trouble. This person's already want me to get along with my white employees and things like that.
Well, that's internalized racism.
I wouldn't hire that.
That's your choice.
You know what I mean?
Bias.
So why would a company want to hire someone that you know already going to bring trouble?
That's not true. I'm Nigerian. I have a Nigerian name. Amani on Yoha is
But you grew up in America, though. You didn't grow up in Nigeria.
And there's a lot of black people who have ethnic names who grew up in America. So what's the difference?
But why would a company want to hire a black with a black name?
Why not?
No, I'm asking. I just told you why not, because it's trouble.
Why is it trouble? Black people are trouble? Is that your
when they change their name to abnormal names like black names, they're saying they're angry. They are.
We don't change our name. Last time I did, I didn't choose my name.
I know, but your folks are from a different country, so
my
of course,
but
your father's from there, right? It's of course they're gonna have different names. I'm talking about the blacks who were Americans and they had American names at one time. You believe that? Also, you think that it's okay that the reason that you are a Democrat and no problem with it, you're okay with them lowering the standards for the blacks?
They're not lowering the standards for
the blacks. Won't you call it? Because these people are not qualified.
If you're not qualified, then you won't get the job. But if you have the qualifications.
But the qualified person is the person that can pass the test.
If you can
not the one that can't pass the test.
There's a lot of black people who have had affirmative action who have passed the test and are very educated. They have master's degrees. They have high GPAs.
But how would you know that, though, since you know that they only get into these schools based on color?
They're not
and so the standards been lowered so the blacks can get in. So you have to assume that all the blacks are just getting in because not because of qualification, but because of affirmative action.
It's just not true.
Is that true?
It's not true.
Okay. You believe that there are benefits to having a more progressive leadership that is willing to change the law for working class people, such as raising the minimum wage.
Mm-hmm.
Are you okay if you had a business, your own business? Would you be okay with the government telling you in your own private business that you have to raise the minimum wage?
I have my own private business because I'm a partner at this firm, so I do own a portion of the firm, and we unionized our staff. We told them, hey, y'all should unionize, and we did their union negotiation in 2 days. We gave them good wages, they got medical, and we are bound by that union contract, and it goes up every year, and we have to reaffirm it, and we did it in this firm.
You wouldn't have done it had not you gotten a union? You would have naturally done that?
Yeah, we told them to unionize.
No, if they had not gotten a union, you would not have paid them for what they were worth?
We were still paying them really well. We just wanted just to have that partnership with the union to hold us accountable. We were already paying them well. They already had great wages. So when it came down to negotiate, we ratified our union contract in 2 days. It didn't take long because we had already been providing the things that they would have wanted. So,
and you say you needed a union to hold you responsible?
We don't need them to, but we're not afraid of it.
But what, if you were going to do the responsible thing, why did you need a union? I don't quite understand.
We didn't need it, but our staff, people want it. Like, people like to be unionized. They like to have the backing of a union. So yeah, they're here. They're our partners in it, and it's working out great.
But I don't quite understand, because if you guys were going to do the right thing anyway, and the staff knew that, why would they want a union? Because now they have to pay union dues.
We told them to unionize.
Now they have to pay union dues. And they may get a raise, but that raise is going to go toward the union dues, which benefit the unions to go to the Democratic representatives to help support the Democrats to get what they want to get.
Yeah, we can be transparent. Union dues are 0.08% of our staff's paycheck, and that's something that they wanted to do. Again, they formed the union. They voted on it. That's what they wanted to do because they wanted that type of protection. We were cool with it. It doesn't cost them much. It probably cost them $20 a paycheck, but you got the whole backing of a huge union behind you, which is great for them. And they wanted that, and we was cool with it.
That's amazing. You want to stop? Oh, you want to stop union busting? Why?
Why would you union bust?
Why do you want to stop union busting?
Because if people want access to better wages, health care, time off, sick leave, they should be able to have that. And busting the union oftentimes interferes with their ability to have access to those things. For instance, if the corporation themselves or the company or whoever doesn't want to give you things that you need, like sick days, basic things, we all get sick. None of us are perfectly immune. Then you should be able to have access to those things and don't stand in the way of an entity that's trying to provide those type of protections for workers.
All of my life, I worked for different companies before I started my own thing. And I never worked for a company where they didn't give you time off, vacation time, sick time. And if you need to be off, they'll let you go and take care of your business. Where did that idea come from that companies don't do that and you need a union?
There's some, unions have been here long before either of us were
alive.
Yeah,
you're
so
right. Yeah.
a long time ago. And America was, again, better back then when we had union strength because a lot of the sneaky things that some corporations and some businesses do. Like I said, I'm a business owner myself, so I understand that there are some businesses and corporations who are cool with giving people paid time off, bereavement, all of that. But then there's some people who try to skip corners. Like we had the big thing with Palestine, Ohio, and the labor workers. They were not given paid sick days. Like, why? In 2023, are we not giving people paid sick days? So there are some industries that don't do the basic things that you grew up on.